India's jungles carpet over 20% of the country and represent one of the most biodiverse regions on Earth. The forests found in the ancient mountains of the Western Ghats are the ancestral birthplace for much of India's diverse wildlife and have inspired cultural imagination for hundreds of years. The lore of the jungle was first written about India's forests in Rudyard Kipling's The Jungle Book. This is the fabled world from the pages of history. This is Kipling's paradise. The Western Ghats Mountains stretch 1,600 kilometers from what was once ancient Bombay, but now better known as Mumbai, all the way to the southern tip of India, parallel to India's west coast. This spine of hills covers 6% of India's landmass, but provides a home to over 30% of its plant and animal species. It's no wonder that India's jungles inspired one of the most famous books in literary history, The Jungle Book. The Western Ghats are home to all of Kipling's characters. Humans have found a home here too. For thousands of years, people have lived side by side with nature. The secret to this explosion of life lies in the very mountains themselves. Huge peaks rise into the path of monsoon clouds, triggering rainfall and producing one of the wettest climates in India. Tropical rainforests thrive. Some of Kipling's larger characters help shape these rainforests. The Western Ghats are home to the largest wild population of Asian elephants in the world. This female is the matriarch of her family. She is the oldest and leads a herd of her sisters, daughters, and their young. Despite their great size, they move quietly through the forest and are all but ignored by the other jungle residents. But mealtimes are a more noisy affair. They are the jungle's architects. By pulling down and breaking tree branches during foraging, elephants make gaps in the canopy, allowing sunlight to reach the forest floor. Adult elephants need to eat over 130 kilos of vegetation every day. they roam great distances in a never-ending search for food. This matriarch's knowledge of pathways, water sources, and grazing opportunities has been passed down to her through generations. And in turn, she too passes it on. Elephants roam all over the Western Ghats, but their wanderings bring them dangerously close to another inhabitant. People benefit from the incredible productivity of the rain-soaked western slopes. Spices such as black pepper and cardamom are cultivated in huge quantities here, fueling India's historic spice trade. And the fertile hills provide the ideal climate for one particular type of camellia, tea. The slopes are a patchwork of plantations. A century ago, unbroken forest stretched across the entire Western Ghats. Today, less than 10% of the forest remains. The region's high rainfall means tea fields need never be irrigated. It's perfect tea country. But estates disrupt ancient animal migration routes, and elephants have no choice but to cross the plantations. They don't eat the tea, but sometimes they do cause damage to villages. As many as 400 people are killed by elephants in India every year. The darker pages of the Jungle Book are fraught with conflict between people and elephants. And India's changes have been all too swift for this magnificent animal. Despite this territorial clash, Indian culture is deeply imbued with respect for the natural world. The elephant even holds a place in Hinduism as the god Ganesha. Like the jungle's elephant architects, Ganesha's role is as the remover of obstacles. India's elephants descend from much smaller African ancestors, which roamed the earth as long as 55 million years ago, shortly after the creation of the Western Ghats. 150 million years ago, the supercontinent Gondwana began to split apart, and the triangular landmass that is now modern India broke away. This Indian plate drifted northwards over a volcanic hotspot. Boiling magma pushed up into the Earth's crust and heated the land. The edge of the Indian plateau morphed and faltered into a crumpled line of mountains. By the time India bumped into mainland Asia and began pushing up the Himalayas, the Western Ghats were long established and already home to a wealth of wildlife. Some of the Western Ghats' oldest inhabitants are its amphibians. Nearly 90% found here are endemic. With primitive lungs, these amphibians supplement their air intake by absorbing oxygen through their skin. The purple, or pig-nosed frog, was only identified by scientists in 2003. It spends 50 weeks of the year foraging underground, only emerging shortly before the monsoon rains to mate. The purple frog is unique in India. They are living fossils and proof of the Western Ghats' ancient origins. The high peaks of the Western Ghats are home to another ancient resident. As one of India's oldest tribes, they have lived here since the beginning. The Toda people are peaceful pastoralists, buffalo herders with a reverence for the natural world. The domed roofs of their houses mirror the rolling landscape of their homeland in the Nilgiri Hills. Low doorways are designed to keep out wild animals. Milk is the main source of protein for the Toda people, and butter was traditionally used as currency. But buffalo are far more than a commodity. They are sacred. Dairies and dairymen are the Toda people's chapels and priests. The Toda believe that the goddess Takershi created buffalo first among animals, and then created the Toda man to care for them. When a man dies, a buffalo is killed. It is believed that the buffalo spirit will keep a man company on his journey to the afterlife. The Toda believe that the next world is much like this one, but has a harder surface. Instead of wearing down the land, wandering souls wear down their own legs. When they have no limbs left, they are reborn as Toda people or buffalo. Their connection to the natural world is so strong that for some, wearing shoes or even crossing bridges is forbidden. They are connected to the earth at all times. And apart from an annual sacrifice of a male calf, the Toda people are vegetarians. The Toda believe their people have lived in the Western Ghats since the birth of humankind. Today, there are fewer than 1,400 left, clinging to their traditional way of life. The Nilgiri Hills ascend almost 2,500 meters and form part of the mountain chain, which makes up the Western Ghats. Further south, the tallest peak is Mount Anamudi, the Elephant's Head. At nearly 2,700 meters, it is the highest point in India outside the Himalayas. The Western Ghats are known locally as the Sahyadris, the benevolent mountains. The peaks are a natural barrier to the monsoon weather system and intercept the rains. Over the summer months, monsoon clouds have been building over the Arabian Sea, sucking up moisture from the ocean. Now they sweep towards land, pulled in by the low-pressure void of India's hot, dry interior, before they slam straight into the Western Ghats. Rain-filled clouds are forced up the steep slopes where they cool and condense and soak the earth below. This region sees around 4 meters of rain per year. And in the height of the monsoon season, over half of this rain can fall in a single month. Hidden among the leafy branches is the rarest macaque in the world. The lion-tailed macaque. Their dark bodies and grey manes make them difficult to spot among the shadows, and their thick fur helps keep out the worst of the rain. These primates are jungle specialists. They spend most of their time eating fruit, and there's always food close at hand in the forest. These jackfruit are barely ripe, but that doesn't bother this hungry macaque. Her large canines are strong enough to tear through the fruit's tough, spiny skin. Figs are another jungle staple. This baby is the newest addition to a macaque family led by a dominant male. She will stay with her troop all her life, finding her place in the hierarchy as she gets older. But this young male will eventually break away from his family and join a bachelor group. He's already showing signs of independence. The little male investigates every nook and cranny, looking for things to eat. As well as fruit and seeds, insects, birds' eggs, and lizards are all on the macaque's menu. This older macaque has found a good meal. He's got to act fast, quietly gathering as much food as possible before a more dominant male clocks on and comes to collect. His expandable cheek pouches can hold as much as his stomach. Up in the canopy, he can finish his meal in peace. On another tree, a Malabar giant squirrel is also enjoying a feast. It uses its long tail as a counterweight to help it balance while it feeds. These mini beasts are the largest squirrels in the world. They can grow to be half a meter long and weigh up to 3 kilos, almost as much as a house cat. Like their macaque neighbors, giant squirrels spend time grooming each other. It reinforces bonds and helps keep parasites at bay. Elsewhere in the jungle, beauty rituals are a little messier. Patches of mud develop in the waterlogged forests. They are a perfect playground for this youngster. This male will stay with his mother until he's around 14 years old. A mud bath is fun, but it also helps protect an elephant's skin from insect bites and acts like sunscreen. Like us, elephants can get sunburnt in the harsh midday sun, though that doesn't seem to be this elephant's main concern. Thanks to the Western Ghats, the rainforests on this side of the mountains get more than their fair share of rain each year. And this forest canopy will always be green. This deluge of water and the ancient uplift of India's western edge means that all of southern India's major rivers are fast-flowing and race from west to east, creating some of the country's most magnificent waterfalls. The river systems fed by this rainfall drain almost half of India and are a priceless resource for the animals and people found along their lengths. Over 250 million people in India rely on these rivers for their water supply. One of these rivers, the Kaveri, is considered sacred. It is known as the Ganges of the South and is worshipped all along its length. An entire temple has been built in the hills around the river's source. People come from all over southern India to bathe in this holy water. The same family of priests has been presiding over these rituals for 9 generations. Elsewhere in the Western Ghats, rivers are heavily relied upon for more basic needs. But overpopulation and overuse has taken its toll. Water pollution is the main threat to wildlife in the region. But for now, rivers are still the arteries of India's jungle heart. The coastal plains of Kerala, sandwiched between the Arabian Sea and the Western Ghats, are some of the richest land in India. Runoff from the hills washes down to the coast, and the rivers and streams are laden with fertile sediment. Fruit seeds sprout where they fall, and dense mangroves twist skywards from the silt. Kerala's backwaters are a labyrinth of channels. Rivers replace roads. The west coast of India is where ancient man first set foot on the subcontinent, and here he stayed. Every non-African person in the world can trace their roots back to the first of humankind, who settled in this land of plenty. Kerala's mangroves are still a good provider for the Brahmini kite. He is little more than a scavenger in the Jungle Book. But in these skies, he is king. There's competition for his favorite fishing spot. Living in roosts of up to 600 individuals, this male is used to having to put up with a crowd. Though these birds learn to hunt by dropping and catching leaves soon after they learn to fly, as adults, their quarry proves a little more challenging. It might have been useful training, but perhaps not quite good enough. This male will have to stick to scavenging. These rivers are lifelines for dozens of bird species. A male egret performs an elaborate courtship display. Special wispy feathers on his back are designed to catch a female's eye. He's in luck. But she seems somewhat unimpressed with his clumsy tactics and decides to cut him loose at the last minute. Thankfully, an egret's ego isn't easily bruised, and he'll try again. Storks and pelicans already have young. Hordes of hungry chicks wait noisily for their hard-working parents to bring back food. Their legs aren't strong enough for them to stand upright yet, so they are vulnerable on the slippery rocks. And there are dangers close by. A pair of eyes peeping above the water give one predator away. Mugger crocodiles can grow to be 4.5 meters long. They're more armored than other crocodiles. If Kipling's tales are to be believed, even knives can't penetrate this crocodile's tough scales. Moving through the shallows stirs up tiny fish, making easy pickings for this heron. But it's taking a risk. A mugger can snatch a meal from the riverbank in the blink of an eye. Fortunately, this crocodile doesn't seem hungry. Crocodiles are cold-blooded. They rely on the elements to maintain their body temperature and spend plenty of time basking in the sun. Under each bony scale is a cluster of blood vessels that absorb heat like tiny solar panels. Muggers can't sweat, but if they get too warm, they release heat through their mouths. But this is a popular sunbathing spot, and things can get a little too heated. These are social animals with a strict dominance hierarchy. Males size each other up. And fight for supremacy over territory. Battles can sometimes be brutal. Kerala's rivers and streams provide perfect irrigation for paddy fields. After China, India is the biggest rice producer in the world, and this area produces over 500,000 tons of rice a year. But these fertile fields bring dangers of their own. Around here, toads regularly fall victim to the deadly monocled cobra. But the snake's hunting trip brings her perilously close to farmers harvesting rice. More people die from snake bites in India than anywhere else in the world. And monocle cobras are one of the most venomous snakes in Asia. Fangs inject poison that paralyzes its victim's nervous system and breaks down its cells. One bite can kill a man in less than an hour. But this species is timid, and she isn't looking for a fight. Whilst the creatures of the forest venture into human habitats, there is one animal which seems even more out of place back in the wild. Gaur are the biggest species of wild cattle on the planet. Adults can stand over 2 meters at the shoulder and brandish horns that can be a meter long. They are one of the world's largest land animals and can weigh over a ton. They are only outstripped in size by their elephant neighbors. Only tigers are capable of preying on these cows. But gaur have been known to fight back and kill tigers in self-defense. They will spend all day roaming small patches of their home range, led by a matriarch to the best pickings of grass. Elephants are also fond of grass. During the drier months, rivers recede and expose fresh green banks. The shoots are full of nutrients, and elephants gather from far and wide to picnic on these lawns. A mouthful of mud may not seem appetizing, but it supplements an elephant's mineral intake. River clay is a herbivore delicacy. The monsoon season is now over, but over the hills, the retreat of the rains is barely noticed. To the east of the Western Ghats mountain range lies the Deccan Plateau. It is a vast expanse of basalt, comprising the main part of southern India. Woodland and plains here receive just 1/10 of the monsoon rains. And the forests are very different from the dark, damp jungles of the west. The trees have broad leaves, which soak up as much sunlight as possible, but are dropped in the dry season to conserve moisture. The leaf litter provides a perfect disguise for a deadly predator. A king cobra. They are the largest venomous snakes in the world. These giant reptiles can grow to be over 5 meters long. They are the true kings of the jungle. Venturing down to the forest floor is a risky business. The cobra's eyesight is better than most snakes, and it can spot prey moving 100 meters away. But luckily for the lion-tail, macaque is not on the menu. King cobras prefer other snakes. a hump-nosed pit viper could be in danger. But it's only 30 centimeters long, too small to be much of a meal. A 3-meter rat snake is much more appealing. Locked onto its target, the cobra tracks its prey by smell, but not with its nostrils. It smells with its tongue. Chemical scent particles stick to its tongue and transfer to receptors on the roof of its mouth, known as the Jacobson's organ. The forks in its tongue work in stereo, enabling the cobra to pinpoint prey with deadly accuracy. King cobra inject more venom in a single bite than any other snake. Enough to kill an elephant. But snakes have a built-in resistance to the poison. It takes a lot more venom to kill a snake than a mammal. So a snake-eating king cobra delivers a massive dose. One bite is all it takes. In a matter of minutes, the cobra's venom shuts down the rat snake's nervous system. Proteins in the poison start digesting the prey before the cobra's even finished swallowing. Perhaps this is why the Jungle Book calls these snakes the poison people. But you don't have to be a king to be a hunter here. Even the smallest animals can be deadly. A swarm of ants overwhelms a spider hundreds of times their size. A second spider intervenes. But this is no rescue mission. Spiders think nothing of making a meal of their own kind. The ants overpower it almost immediately. It's lucky to escape with its life. Here in the jungle, staying out of sight is the best way to stay alive. A Draco lizard is perfectly camouflaged to blend in with tree bark. Keeping still, he all but disappears. But today, this Draco wants to be noticed. He's looking for a mate. A bright flap of skin called a dewlap advertises his presence to females. But he's unwittingly caught the eye of an enemy. A vine snake. Horizontal pupils give the vine snake acute binocular vision. It can judge distance with pinpoint accuracy. This is one of the thinnest snakes in the world. Its body is just 2 centimeters wide. But it's 2 meters long. Its mouth stretches right to the back of its head and opens so wide that it can swallow prey whole. The slender serpent moves slowly, mimicking a creeper swaying in the breeze. A perfect disguise in a world of plants. But the Draco senses danger and plays its trump card. Flexing its ribcage, spreads a membrane of skin to make a simple but effective wing. For many of the jungle's residents, a good getaway is the best method of defense. This is certainly true for chital deer. They are well adapted for these dry, deciduous environments and will spend the majority of their day browsing for nutrient-rich food amongst the undergrowth. This group is a matriarchal herd, composed mostly of mothers and their young. But it's mating season, and they are trailed by males who squabble for dominance. The young stay close to their mothers. They are defenseless out here in the open, and they have reason to be fearful. Tigers have long been both revered and feared for their ability to hunt. The Jungle Book depicts the battle between man and tiger, evenly matched in the art of killing. The Western Ghats is home to 10% of the world's population of these big cats. And this tigress has her own young to think about. Her cubs are only a few months old and are unable to fend for themselves. She will have to leave them to hunt. She hasn't eaten for days, and she'll need energy if she has any hope of raising all of them. But she'll have to hurry. A local leopard is only too eager to protect his territory from a future adversary. And after all, these cubs are bite-sized. Her coat is an effective disguise in the undergrowth. Moving stealthily, she creeps towards her prey. She's fast, but these deer can outrun her, so she needs to get close enough to sprint. But they can sense danger. Chasing her target down at speeds of almost 60 kilometers per hour, she makes her kill. It's a brutal but quick death, and necessary for the survival of this tigress and her cubs. And she's lucky. 9 out of 10 hunting attempts will end in failure. Tigers are a universal symbol of the power of nature and are India's national animal. But few go to such lengths to express their admiration for tigers as the Karuba people of the Western Ghats. Every September, during the Dussehra festival, folk dancers from the Karuba tribe let their inner animal run wild and dance the Huli Vesha, the tiger dance. The dancer's moves mimic the big cat's stealth and power. Lemons held in their mouths signify the animal's deadly grip on its prey. These men have been dancing the Huli Vesha since they were children, taught by their fathers and grandfathers. They grew up in a village in the Western Ghats, close to the forest, and surrounded by nature. The tiger dance is a way for them to express their deep connection to wildlife. Traveling around villages to perform their dance brings spectators from far and wide. It takes many hours to paint and decorate their bodies, but the patterns will last several days. The men earn tips for their acrobatics. But the dance has a deeper meaning. The Hulivesha is a celebration of the wild world and a reminder of man's dependence on nature. Despite this homage, India's wildlife is under threat. As India races into the 21st century and the population edges over 1.2 billion, there's increasingly less space for the country's animals. The crops and spices harvested on the slopes of the Western Ghats are shipped all over the world from Kerala's backwaters. As demand increases, the fields dedicated to India's exports spill beyond their old borders. And human habitats are encroaching on those of unfriendly neighbors. This family have had to evacuate. They have an unwanted house guest, making itself at home in the kitchen. Instead of launching an attack, this family have called a local snake handler to evict their unruly tenant. Here in the Western Ghats, these snakes hold a special status. They are revered as goddesses of fertility, and harming them is taboo. Many also believe that the king cobra controls the thunder and rain. But it's a risky business, and this snake seems reluctant to leave. Over 100 rescue calls are made for king cobras in this area each year, and nearly half of them are for home intrusions. This snake has a strike distance of 2 meters, and one bite has enough venom to kill 20 men. Something this snake won't hesitate to demonstrate. The snake squatter is finally subdued. And released back to the forest. The Western Ghats are an ancient biodiversity hotspot and a sanctuary for thousands of animals and plants found nowhere else on Earth. Intercepting monsoon clouds and harvesting rainfall, the mountains have a profound effect on the climate of southern India. They are home to wild creatures, from flying lizards and deadly snakes to endangered primates and formidable hunters. Humans have lived alongside animals here for thousands of years, but the 20th century has taken its toll. Kipling wrote of jungle creatures with historically insatiable greed, but none more so than man. Here in the Western Ghats, there is plenty for everyone, but as ever, mankind must learn to coexist with nature, keeping India's jungles a paradise for all.